Taylor, let's get to our preview against the Indiana Sentinels.
So previewing the upcoming 2 games versus the Indiana Sentinels in Columbus, Indiana. The Black Bears and the Sentinels meet for the first time ever at the Hamilton Community Ice Arena this Friday and Saturday. Previously, the 2 teams have met in Binghamton for 4 games, with Binghamton winning all 4 meetings. On November 7th, they won 4-1. Then on November 8th, they won 6-1. And on February 6th, they shut out the Sentinels 5-0 before repeating that the next day on the 7th with another 5-0 victory for the Black Bears. The Black Bears have outscored the Sentinels 20-2, with CJ Stubbs scoring 4 goals, Mac Jansen scoring 3 goals, then Jacob Shankar, Gavin Yates, Ivan Bondarenko, and Austin Durazio scoring 2 goals each. The Sentinels scored 2 goals in the series, and they have come from Ethan Esposito and Bodan Zinchenko. The Sentinels are 11-31-4 with 34 points, 7th place in the Empire Division, eliminated from the playoffs, and they have scored 115 goals and allowed 204. The Black Bears are 41-5-2 with 122 points, first in the Empire Division, already have clinched home ice in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They have scored 256 goals this season and have only allowed 113, number 1 in both goals for and goals allowed in the league. The Sentinels will be playing a 3rd game this week, a game on Thursday night before the 2 games versus the Black Bears. Their opponent will be the Port Huron Prowlers, who the Sentinels have a similar heated rivalry with. Last weekend, the Sentinels played 3 games in 3 nights with the Topeka Scarecrows, losing 2 of the 3 games. On Friday night, the Scarecrows won 4-3. On Saturday night, the Sentinels won 5-2. And then on Sunday night, the Scarecrows won 6-1. The Black Bears only played 2 games last weekend and shut out both of their opponents. On Friday, the Black Bears shut out the Prowlers 4-0. Tomei would be shut out, his 5th of the season, a league high. On Saturday, the Black Bears went on the road to Danbury and shut out the Hat Tricks 5-0. Brandon Chance's first pro start and the Black Bears' first ever pro debut shutout for a goaltender.
Okay, so there's a couple things I want to go back to. Number 1, the Sentinels, let's see here, their goals allowed is 204. That's not even the worst in the Empire Division. I believe the Watertown Wolves have given up more goals, if I remember correctly. And so that's very interesting to me because, again, one of the things that we said about Everett Thompson is when he came in, his mindset was defense first. And he's definitely created a team element of defense first. Unfortunately, they don't have any offense on that team. Esposito and I think Bodan Zinchenko, which Zinchenko could probably do 20 or 30 more points on any other team. But unfortunately on that team, they're playing such a defensive minded game first. They don't get a chance to score a lot. And when they come into the zone, I think the last time they came in to Binghamton, if you remember correctly, those 2 5-0s, we talked about this where when they came into the zone, Esposito seemed to be the only player to know what to do.
Yeah, I do remember talking about that because, that was the one person we kind of watched, those games was Esposito. He, again, like as you just said, he was the only person who seemed like he knew what he was doing. And to kind of jump back a little bit, you are correct. It is Watertown. They have the most goals they have 245.
Yeah, so you can see that and then my point there is really that Indiana's not a bad team because they've only had how many wins? 11 wins. They're a bad team because they can't score. They're not a bad team because they can't defend. They have been able to defend. The problem is that they just can't score a lot of goals. And plus, they got wrapped up in their heated rivalry with the Port Huron Prowlers. Let's be honest, it's well documented on other websites and other podcasts on what has happened between Port Huron and the Indiana Sentinels. And luckily, we haven't gotten into too much of that kind of stuff with the Port Huron Prowlers. We still have a heated rivalry, and there's definitely some tension there. It's just not the same between Port Huron and Danbury and Port Huron and Indiana like it is between Port Huron and Binghamton, thankfully. And I think a big part of that is because our players don't buy into that garbage sometimes.
Yeah, I think the discipline on this team is insane this year.
It is.
And I don't know if it's just because, Q's calmed down Brant, which has kind of calmed down everybody else. Because, it definitely, it's trickled down, Brant used to blow up. Some of the players used to blow up more.
Yeah.
And we don't really have that. And especially against the Prowlers who feed off of that. You can tell they feed off of that because that's literally how they play their games. So I think for, us to be that disciplined to kind of not feed into the Prowlers and give them that advantage, it's been a huge help. And I would have, almost like to see, I don't think the Sentinels would be, where they are if maybe Everett had kind of started there, had the full season under him kind of thing.
100%.
Because he got started late with them.
Mm-hmm.
And, they definitely had a rough start to their season. So I think they've turned around, in the second half of the season here. And I think he's done a good job with what he has. And so it would be, interesting to see if he stays on and to kind of see what they would do next season. And hopefully there is some changing in the scheduling and they don't have to face Port Huron a bunch and we don't have to face Watertown and Danbury, 30 sometimes, but it'd be nice to see.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of I hopes there when we don't really know the answers to that. But the one thing I think you make a great point on is if we can get a full season of Everett Thompson as the coach of the Indiana Sentinels, will the compete level be a little bit higher? Will the offense be able to grow a little bit? Will the defense even tighten up even more? Because I think he has done a good job with the defense, and they go in there and they squeak out a win against the Port Huron Prowlers. They go out there and they squeak a win against the Topeka Scarecrows or other teams that they've played against this year. They have 11 wins. They have more wins than the Biloxi Breakers, right? And simple fact of the matter is they're a better team than Biloxi. And people don't want to hear that because Biloxi was the Mississippi Seawolves before then, and all that, but they're better than them. And it's kind of funny. They're not the worst team in the league. They're maybe not even the second or the third worst team in the league because they can play better defense than those other teams at the bottom of the trek. But the Sentinels are led by, and this is the downfall of the team, Bodan Zinchenko, 31 games played, only 13 goals, 13 assists, 26 points. Now, he hasn't been with the team the whole year. He played with two other teams this season, so even some of those points aren't ones that came while playing for the Sentinels. He's got 4 power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal. Ethan Esposito, who I think is probably the best offensive talent on the team, 41 games played. He's only got 9 goals, 13 assists, and 22 points, 4 power play goals and 3 game-winning goals. And then they also have a guy who's come in, who played with Twin City this year, and I think either Monroe or Athens. I can't remember. Corey Cunningham, 45 games played this season, 9 goals, 11 assists, and 20 points. And I know last year when he was playing with the Danbury Hat-Tricks, he had a lot more points than that. 1 power play goal, 1 game-winning goal. And then probably they've got 2 goaltenders that they go to, Chris Kerr and John Werber. Now, Chris Kerr's got better goals against average numbers and better save percentage, but John Werber does have more wins than Chris Kerr. He's got 7 wins, 13 losses, 2 overtime losses. He's got a 4.01 goals against average, an 892 save percentage. And again, Chris Kerr's numbers are a little bit better than his there, but that's the strong side of them. Their defense and their goaltending, unfortunately, not their offense. Okay. The Black Bears are led by Yawn. We've gone through this multiple times, but we're going to do it again because this is a part of our preview. CJ Stubbs, 46 games played. And plus, I want to talk about the things at the end of the first 2 guys here anyways. 46 games played, 36 goals, 51 assists, 87 points. He's got 12 power play goals, 4 shorthanded goals, 8 game-winning goals. Okay, now, the points projection for CJ Stubbs at this point to end the season is 102 because he scores points, 1.9 points per game. And with us having 8 games left, if he plays all 8 games and he hits that 1.9 projection, that would be enough points to get him to 102. Doesn't matter for their goals or assists, it just points. Ivan Bondarenko, 48 games played, 16 goals, 69 assists for 85 points, 2 power play goals, 1 shorthanded goal, 1 game-winning goal. His points production at the end of the season is 99 because he scores points 1.8 per game. And with 8 left, that would get him to 99 points. Now, Taylor, why is this important? Why am I bringing this up? Well, the 2 people that are at the top of the points for the Binghamton Black Bears franchise history is Nikita Ivashkin and Tyler Jurich. Now, they both hit 98 points each. One had one more goal than the other, one more assist than the other. They kind of swapped, right? This goes back all the way to the first season. So if CJ Stubbs and Ivan Bondarenko score points at their average right now, which is 1.9 for CJ Stubbs and 1.8 for Ivan, they will both break what is the franchise record for points in a season, which would be 102 and 199 for Ivan and CJ Stubbs. So very important, something that we're going to be watching over the next few weeks.
That is absolutely it's just crazy to think about. And it's crazier for me because I'm literally sitting here staring at these numbers, and it's so weird to look at Stubbs's numbers and, his goals and assists. They're almost, they're a lot closer than if you look at Bondarenko's 16 goals to 69 assists, and yet him and Stubbs are 2 points off of each other. It's crazy to me.
It is. It very much is. But I wanted to bring this up, and I wanted to kind of put the point projection in there because you never know what'll happen. I hope these two guys can both kind of break Ivashkin's and Tyler Jurich's numbers in that sense, but it'll be very interesting to see. Now, Gavin Yates has got 40 games played, 24 goals, 35 assists for 59 points. His best performance in his career with the Black Bears. So that's good. 8 power play goals, 2 game-winning goals. Dominic Tomei is 24-2-1 with a 2.2 goals against average, a 926 save percentage, and he has a league-leading 5 shutouts. He's also leading the league in goals against average as well with the 2.02. I think he's in second place with 926 save percentage. I think the guy ahead of him has got a 929 save percentage. Now, special teams. Binghamton, power play is not ranked number 1 anymore, Taylor. What is it?
It is ranked second.
Yeah, with 71 power play goals, converting at a 26% conversion rate, but they're only like 0.6 behind the team ahead of them, which is at 27%. I believe that's the Columbus Blue Jackets, if I remember correctly. The PK is ranked number 1 with 27 power play goals against, 88%. If you think about that, they play 56 games. They've played 48 games right now, and they've only given up 27 power play goals. That is insane to me. The Indiana Sentinels power play is ranked 13th, 31 power play goals, 13 conversion rate. The PK is ranked 10th, 47 power play goals, and 78% kill rate. So that's pretty much it. That's the preview. Taylor, what are your thoughts on this weekend? What are you predicting score-wise?
Well, I kind of already told you a little bit off air, but I definitely want a goalie who hasn't played yet to go in the first game and get a shutout. I would be okay if it was a 1-0 game. It really would be, because then it's a lot less than that you and I have to do afterwards. But I think they go into this weekend more relaxed than probably they have obviously the previous weekend with facing Port Huron and Danbury. And, being that the Sentinels, they played 3 games last weekend, they play a game tomorrow night on Thursday, and then they have to play us Friday and Saturday. They're probably already beat. They're probably, they're going to be in rough shape to begin with. They have to face Port Huron. That's not an easy thing to do.
No.